In my opinion, there's never been a better moment to develop your skills as a bass player. The sheer amount of high-quality video content, books, training sites, and gear that is available to all players has never been greater. With such a glut of options, how can you decide what is worth your time and what is worth your money? In this video, I'll break down some of my recommendations for how to spend your resources to improve your playing. Now, there are two resources that we all have that we can use to better our playing. Those are time and money. In terms of improvement, nothing will ever beat time on your instrument. Money, however, can be used to leverage your practice time. Each of us has a limited amount of each resource. Some people have lots of time to practice, but they don't have a lot of money that they can invest in their playing. Other people have limited time, but they have money that they want to spend on their passion that they want to invest in improving on the instrument. Most of us fall in the middle. It's important to us that we get value for our time and our money. So I'll start with some free options, and then we'll go up from there. The first one, free resources. Quincy Jones said, "If you want to be great, put your time into the fundamentals. Learn the basics of music and build on that. Learn how to read music. Learn about harmony, counterpoint, constructing a melody, and definitely orchestration. If it has to do with music, learn it. Learn everything about the kind of music you're into and about every other kind of music. Master your craft, put your time in." I say this because each of these things that he mentions can be learned for free on the internet. If you don't have much money to spend on your playing, you live in the best possible time to improve as a bass player. Now, you're watching this video, so I can only assume that you're somebody who already uses YouTube to try to better their bass playing. Some ways that you can get more out of this platform. Search outside of the bass sphere. Look up great tutorials by saxophone players to understand how to navigate chord changes in a more interesting way. Learn left-hand technique from guitar players. Learn how to internalize time from the best drummers on YouTube. Another great free resource that's available to you is called Teoria.com. This is a really great, simple website that is full of great information about music theory. It has great tools to study ear training. Highly recommend it. Okay, so the next level is about $10. So if you have about $10 to spend on your playing, where should you spend it? I think that if you only have $10 to spend, you should spend it going to see a local show. What you get when you go to see a local show is you get knowledge about your scene. You get to meet like-minded people. You get inspiration from the best players in your area. In my opinion, this might be the best value on the entire list. By getting yourself out there, by meeting the people in your local scene, you're telling them, hey, I'm interested in what you're doing. And people will respond to that. Now, keep in mind that it's pretty bad etiquette to ask for a gig, and it's definitely bad etiquette to ask to sit in on a gig. Instead, just try to meet some people. Try to take a genuine interest in the music. If you're wondering how to get gigs, this is it. Next level, $10 to $30. There's some really great things that you can get at this price point. The best one that I can recommend is a book of transcriptions of an artist that you really love. If you really love Queen, buy a book of transcriptions of John Deacon's bass playing. If you love the Beatles and Paul McCartney, buy a transcription book and just spend some time with it. Check out what he's doing in his lines. See if the author of the transcription book has added any notes to help you understand exactly what he's thinking. Some books that I would really recommend checking out is Standing in the Shadows of Motown, which is about James Jamerson. Another one is any Jaco Pastorius transcription book. And thirdly, you should probably get the real book if you don't have one already. This is a great resource as well. Okay, so at the same price point, you also have the option of subscribing to bass training sites. There's some really big ones with a lot of really great players on it. And many players are wondering, is this a good value for my money? Through no fault of the great educators on these programs, you can be lulled into thinking that you're really improving as a player because you've watched a handful of videos. Where these become really worth it is if there's a particular player that you're enamored with and there's either a course about them or even better, there's a course that's taught by that player on one of these training sites. I think that if that's the case, you should absolutely buy the subscription, absorb that person's playing, absorb everything they have to teach. It's a great value for your money. Okay, moving up the list, $30 to $50. Here I have one recommendation, and that is to buy concert tickets to really great concerts. Unless you live in New York City or LA or somewhere else where you can go out any night of the week and see the greatest musicians alive, it's a mistake to miss an opportunity to see a really great player that you love. These opportunities to see these players is rarer than you might think, and the benefits are intangible. The amount of inspiration that you can get from seeing one really great performance, the amount of nuance that you can absorb just by watching a great player, it can feed your practice time for months. Okay, next, $50 to $100. Is there a sound in your head that you really want to explore? Is there a bass player who gets a particular tone that you really love? Trust that feeling. Try to get that sound. Maybe it's an octave pedal. Maybe it's a lo-fi simulator. Maybe it's a delay pedal. If you get that sound into your hands, it can lead to a lot of inspired practice time. One type of pedal that I think is an amazing value is a loop pedal. A loop pedal doesn't only allow you to play along with your own bass lines, it also allows you to get instant feedback. Loop pedals are really fun, and they're great for writing bass lines and for writing songs. Okay, now we're getting a little bit pricier. Here's $100 to $200. Here, I think the best value for your money is a really great pair of headphones. As a musician, you should be listening to a lot of music. Do you listen to it through your laptop speakers, through your iPhone earbuds? These are fine in a pinch, but you should have something that can deliver you really good quality sound so that you can understand the nuances of bass tone, bass lines. You're missing out on a lot of information if you don't have good headphones that can produce the bass frequencies. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get decent headphones. As long as they're comfy and they go over your ears and they have pretty good bass presence, you're good to go. $200 to $500. Here, what you can get for your money is a handful of bass lessons. At another part of my life, I worked in a different field where private coaching cost between $450 and $2,000 per hour. Why would anybody spend $2,000 per hour on coaching? The reason was because an hour of an expert's time was so valuable because it allowed you to increase your own hourly rate. Music doesn't work this way. In music, there's a scarcity of money, but an abundance of professionals. Believe it or not, in a place like New York City, you can take lessons with top professionals for about $150 per hour. Sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more. The value that you get from an hour spent with somebody who's doing exactly what you want to do for a career is invaluable. Okay, so now we're getting up there, $500 to $1,000. I think that the best value for your money here is a really good amplifier. Getting good sound is really important for staying inspired in your own practice time. It also allows you to play bigger gigs. It allows you to sound better on your gigs. It's a really great investment. A quick note about amps. I think that it's really important to invest in the right tool for the job. Do you hate lifting heavy stuff up and down stairs? Buy lightweight gear. Do you really value that vintage tube sound? Buy vintage gear. Buy the right tool and plan on keeping it for the rest of your life. Okay, $1,000 to $4,000. For this much money, you can attend a really great bass camp or music camp. These are great because you get to spend a week or more with like-minded people exchanging ideas. You get to focus on music exclusively night and day. It's a really great opportunity to sort of immerse yourself in what you're doing, and oftentimes it leads to some pretty big steps in the future. The networking opportunities at these things are great as well. Do a Google search to try to find out more about some of these bass and music camps, and check out Victor Wooten's camps. Okay, $10,000 or more. Here you have lots of money. You can spend as much as you want. You're probably spending it on everything else on the list. What does this unlock you to be able to spend over $10,000 on your playing? Well, you could go back to music school. Maybe it means getting a graduate degree in music. Maybe it means going back and getting a degree from a place like Berkeley. It's a great opportunity, but it's expensive. I think the common thread in all of these suggestions is inspiration. Without inspiration, why would you pick up your instrument? If you can spend money on something that inspires you to spend quality time on your art, that fuels your creative endeavors and enriches the relationships that you have with your musical community, I think you've made a good purchase. So I hope that this video was useful for you. I want to stress the fact that you don't need to spend a whole lot of money to get better at the bass. What you really need to do is spend focused time. The real advantage of having inspiration is just that it allows you to focus more deeply. If you can get that inspiration for free, get it. If there are great players that you love on YouTube, spend a lot of time absorbing yourself in their playing. Figure out the nuances of what they're doing. So if you dig this video, subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.